Hey there guys, how are you? Welcome back to another awesome video. It's time for another movie review. Today's movie review is going to be of Vivo. And so Vivo is a Netflix original movie that came out this year, and it's about this primate-esque mammal called a kinkajou who was brought up and raised in music and by this old man named Andres. And Andres wants to write this song to the love of his life so that way he can finally tell her how he feels. And after his passing, it's up to Vivo to go to Florida, Miami to deliver that song to her. I don't know who this was directed by, but I know for sure this was definitely produced, written by, composed, and of course stars the one and only Lin Manuel Miranda. And of course, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but of course Lin Manuel Miranda is the best thing about this movie. He's the best thing in all of his movies, and everything that he's either written, composed, even directed. I forget he's an actor that's also directed films. So he's very he may be middle-aged, but he's very young for his age to be basically already writing, directing, and starring in his own movies, and acting and still directing films at the same time. But anything he's written, directed, produced, starred in, he's obviously the best thing. And this isn't really a complaint here, but I noticed that in a good way, I love the fact that Lin Manuel Miranda loves to do with his stories and his storytelling is tell about legacy and carry on a legacy, whether it is his legacy or the character that he's playing has to carry on someone else's legacy, which I think that works pretty fantastic for him. Like, we see it in this movie, you see it in Hamilton, you see it in probably almost anything that he's probably worked on before. But I'm just saying a little side note of notice, but it's a good side note, to be honest. And he's partnered up with this, I want to say the girl is the niece, or I think he's the niece to Andres. Her name is Gabby. And I will say, and I will admit, Gabby is a little bit, let's just put it at odd, but I don't mind that she's odd in a way. Like, there are some quirks to her that I kind of sat there and went, I didn't really like the second time around, I was like, I kind of noticed them. But I just, for some reason, from the first viewing and the second viewing, because I saw this movie twice, I love that movie. I love this movie that much, and I'll probably watch it again countless of times. I'm not going to say countless of times, but probably maybe another third, fourth time, who knows. But point I'm making is I decided to see this movie twice. I've watched this movie twice. Second time around, I noticed some little tiny little things here and there that kind of, I guess, don't really work. But back to Gabby as a character, for some reason, viewing it twice, I still get vibes that she very much reminds me in a way, kind of like Lilo from Lilo and Stitch. Like, she's very just antisocial. She doesn't have that many friends. She's just very in her own bubble. She's weird, but she likes being in her own bubble, and she likes being this sort of person that she is. Sometimes it might not work, but in other directions it actually does work. And there's definitely a great supporting cast of not just actors, like you have Zoe Saldana, and I definitely want to point out Michael Rooker.
Hey there, rat.
I mean, and not only did I want to mention Michael Rooker just so I can do that bit, but also the fact that it's funny that Michael Rooker is just in this animated movie playing a snake. How much better can you get, to be honest? But not only do you have a few actors, like I said, Zoe Saldana, Michael Rooker, which ironically enough, 2 MCU actors and 2 Guardians of the Galaxy members, but you have, I think, Gloria Estefan, and a few other people in there. But this mainly, besides that aside, this is mainly Cuban-American based. This is very culture center, and this is very trying to reach more to the Cuban, Brazilian, Hispanic, Latino, like those demographics with this movie. Kind of like Black Panther was mainly trying to be for African Americans. This movie, animated-wise, is trying to be for Cubans and Hispanics and all the Spanish and Mexicans and all those people out there. And speaking of which, that is a big, huge thing for the animation and the music, because the animation and music is the heart and soul of this movie. And you can definitely tell in the colors and the styles of the animation, it is very, it harks on that culture, those colors, those vibrance, everything just speaks to you. The music speaks to you. The animation speaks to you. The story, or maybe some things in the movie may not work, but the heart and soul that is probably the best in the like high tier thing about this movie is the animation and the songs, of course, the composing, the scores. All that is great. That is the heart and soul, and I love that there are various moments that are very fantasy-like. I love when those colors were brought out during that sequences. Those were definitely fantastic for me. And I gotta say, this is really a good stepping stool and a good start for Sony Animation, because they're really like doing really well so far in these past few years. Not only did they really do fantastic with Into the Spider-Verse, but this is definitely one of their best animated movies next to Spider-Verse. And I'm not gonna lie, they're not the best animated studio right now, especially when you compare them to Disney and DreamWorks and Pixar and so forth, but I would definitely give them a few notches up probably for their, at least their attempt at doing this movie, or at least when they made this movie, it definitely brought them up a notch to at least being somewhere, not necessarily the top tier, but they're making their way up to being, I'd say, not the best, but they're getting their way. They're making their way up there. So I will give them that credit, and I will acknowledge that for sure, because this movie definitely does deserve its credit and acknowledgement of it. At least whether you like this movie or you even hate this movie, at least it's attempting to try and make their animation and really perfect it. And I think that's another stepping stool. Like Spider-Verse was really the top tier. Now they're trying to do other stuff afterwards. So I really do give them credit for at least trying this out one way or another. But I found myself really adoring this movie a lot. Like I said, there are a few things that they don't really that work for me that well, but overall I adore it. So I'm gonna give Vivo a solid A. So definitely I would say it's one of the, I'm not gonna say it's, well, yeah, I'll say it's one of the best movies I've seen of this year. But then again, I haven't seen that many movies this year, but there'll be probably plenty more I hope to see this year, so we'll see. But Vivo, have you guys seen it? What did you think of it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please smash that button. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I do awesome videos every day, every week. Make sure you ring that bell. So you can be notified on new videos every day, every week. And leave some suggestions in the comments section. I'll take requests, leave some questions in there as well. I want to try and get some questions so I can maybe eventually possibly do a Q&A. So the more questions, the better. So that way we can one day start doing a Q&A. But there will be more reviews coming your way. Maybe a few top 10s, maybe a few TV show reviews. We'll see what happens. I'll figure out my scheduling with me just doing personal stuff, me trying to find a job, all that good stuff and more. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.